My beloved child, there is a reason your heart felt drawn to this message today. Out of countless voices competing for your attention, Heaven gently guided your steps here because there is something your spirit has been waiting to understand. You have wondered why certain doors remained closed, why the future seemed hidden behind a veil, and why someone connected to your destiny has been walking a path you could not see. I have watched every moment. I have stood beside you through every unanswered question, and now I want you to listen carefully. What I am about to reveal is not meant to fill you with pride or fear, but with quiet confidence in the one who orders every step. You have imagined your soulmate's journey many times, yet much of what has been happening has remained invisible. While you focused on surviving each day, another story has been unfolding far beyond your sight. A man of great earthly wealth has entered a season of unexpected decisions. His influence reaches places most people never see, yet even his plans are not greater than the hand of God. What appears to be a business decision, a family matter, or an ordinary relocation may become part of a much larger purpose that touches your soulmate's future. Do not misunderstand what I am saying. Wealth alone does not determine God's favor. Riches can disappear like morning mist, but a heart surrendered to the Lord carries treasures that never fade. Yet throughout Scripture, God has often used people with influence, resources, and authority to move His greater plan forward. Think of Joseph, who was lifted from a prison cell into Pharaoh's palace. His position was never about comfort alone. It became the bridge that preserved countless lives during famine. Perhaps you have been asking, why has my life felt delayed while others move ahead? That question has echoed quietly within your soul. The answer is not punishment. It is preparation. Some roads cannot be traveled until every traveler reaches the right place. If one arrives too early, the blessing becomes a burden instead of a gift. Picture an old mountain road winding through thick morning fog. A traveler cannot see the valley below, yet every turn has already been mapped. Though the path feels uncertain, the destination has never been uncertain to the one who designed it. In the same way, your soulmate has been walking through turns that seemed confusing, while you have been walking your own hidden path. Neither journey has been forgotten. There are conversations taking place that you know nothing about. Opportunities are appearing in places you have never visited. Decisions are being weighed by people whose names you may never hear. Yet the Lord is never surprised by human choices. Proverbs 16 verse 9 reminds us that, "The heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps." That truth remains steady even when life feels unpredictable. This wealthy man does not hold your future in his hands. God does. If this person's resources become part of your soulmate's relocation, it will only be because Heaven permitted it to serve a purpose greater than anyone involved can fully understand. Sometimes God uses unexpected people as instruments while keeping all glory for Himself. You may wonder why relocation matters so deeply. Sometimes a new place is more than a change of address. It becomes the place where healing begins, where old wounds lose their grip, where unhealthy influences are left behind, and where long-awaited relationships are finally able to grow without constant obstacles. A change of location can become the beginning of a change in destiny. Remember Abraham. God called him to leave familiar surroundings without revealing every detail of the journey. He simply said, "Go to the land I will show you." Abraham's obedience came before complete understanding. Faith often walks ahead of certainty. I sense that many who are listening have grown weary of waiting. You have carried silent disappointment that few people truly understand. There were nights when you questioned whether your prayers had reached heaven at all. Yet every sincere prayer has been heard. Not one tear has escaped the Father's attention. As you listen, resist the temptation to chase every rumor or force every outcome. What God ordains never requires panic. Peace becomes the evidence that your trust is resting in Him instead of circumstances. If this relocation is truly part of His design, no human obstacle will permanently prevent it, and no delay will erase what He has already written into His perfect timing. So remain attentive. Not anxious, but attentive. There is another layer to this story that has not yet been revealed, one that explains why this relocation may affect far more than your soulmate alone. In time, you will see how separate paths can suddenly meet at the exact place where God intended them from the very beginning. If this message speaks to your heart, you may write "Amen" below as a quiet declaration of trust. Then keep listening with an open spirit, because what comes next will reveal why this unexpected move could become one of the most significant turning points in your soulmate's journey. Have you noticed how God sometimes keeps the most important pieces of your story hidden until your heart is ready to carry them? That is why I have not revealed everything at once. If I had shown you this season months ago, you might have misunderstood it. Today, however, your spirit is stronger than it was before. Today you are prepared to see another piece of the picture. The wealthy man I spoke of is making choices that seem entirely practical. To him, they may look like business opportunities, expanding investments, or moving someone to a different city or country for reasons that appear ordinary. But heaven often works behind ordinary moments. What humans call coincidence, God has already written into His perfect plan. Long before any contract was discussed or any destination was considered, the Lord already knew how every decision would connect with your soulmate's future. There is something your soulmate has not fully understood either. They have felt an unusual restlessness, almost as if the place they are standing no longer fits the person they are becoming. They may not even have words for it. Some mornings they wake with hope, and by evening they question everything again. Yet beneath those changing emotions, God has been quietly preparing them to leave behind an environment that can no longer support the next chapter of their life. Imagine an eagle standing at the edge of a towering cliff. Remaining where it feels safe may seem comfortable for a moment, but it was never created to spend its life clinging to the rocks. The wind beneath its wings is waiting beyond the edge. In the same way, your soulmate is approaching a moment that may appear uncertain, yet it carries the possibility of becoming the very beginning of their freedom. Do not assume this transition will be effortless. Every meaningful journey requires leaving something behind. Familiar streets, familiar routines, familiar voices, even familiar fears. Sometimes God removes a person from a place not because the place is evil, but because staying there would slowly keep them from becoming who He created them to be. You may be asking yourself, will this relocation take them farther away from me? Listen carefully, because this question has been weighing on many hearts. Distance has never limited God's ability to unite what He has chosen. The Lord who guided Ruth from Moab to Bethlehem was already preparing a future she could not imagine. What looked like loss became the pathway to unexpected blessing. What looked like an ending became the beginning of a legacy that reached generations beyond her own. Your greatest mistake right now would be to judge this season only by what your eyes can see. There are moments when heaven seems silent because it is working beneath the surface, just as the roots of a mighty tree grow deep before anyone sees new branches. Hidden work is not wasted work. The quiet seasons often produce the strongest foundations. There is another reason I wanted you to hear this today. Not everyone surrounding your soulmate celebrates their growth. Some people have become comfortable with the version of them that remains small, uncertain, or afraid. Growth has a way of revealing hearts. As new opportunities appear, true intentions become visible. This is why certain relationships may suddenly feel different. Do not let that trouble you. God sometimes allows separation before He brings divine connection. Remember the words of Isaiah 43 verse 19, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up, do you not perceive it?" The Lord spoke these words to remind His people that His greatest works often begin before anyone recognizes them. Just because you cannot yet see the full picture does not mean heaven has stopped moving. As you continue listening, guard your heart against impatience. The enemy loves to whisper that delays mean denial, but God often delays only to align every detail perfectly. A single conversation, one unexpected invitation, one signature, one journey, can change the direction of an entire life. What seems impossible today may become tomorrow's testimony. I want you to pay close attention, because there is still one truth you have not discovered. This relocation is not only about a destination on a map. There is someone connected to that new place whose role has remained hidden until now. When you understand who that person is and why heaven allowed their path to cross your soulmates, you will begin to see that nothing in this story has been random, not even the waiting that once made you question whether God had forgotten you. So do not leave yet. The next revelation uncovers the quiet connection that has been forming behind the scenes, a connection so unexpected that many people would overlook it completely. Yet once you see it through God's eyes, you will understand why every delay, every unanswered prayer, and every unexpected turn has been guiding this journey toward the exact moment heaven appointed from the very beginning. Before I reveal what has remained hidden, I want you to release one fear that has quietly followed you through this journey. You have wondered whether someone with influence, wealth, or authority could somehow change God's plan for your life. Listen to me with an open heart. No human being, regardless of status or resources, has the power to rewrite what the Lord has established. People may become instruments in His hands, but they never become the author of your destiny. The wealthy man connected to your soulmate's relocation believes he is making decisions based on experience and opportunity. He studies numbers, evaluates possibilities, and plans for the future. Yet there is something he cannot calculate, the unseen hand of God gently directing events beyond human understanding. What appears to be a simple relocation may actually place your soulmate exactly where a long-awaited promise can finally begin to unfold. Think about a lighthouse standing firm through the darkest storm. Ships crossing rough waters rarely understand how close they came to danger until they safely reach the shore. In the same way, your soulmate cannot yet see every danger God has quietly redirected them away from. There were paths that looked attractive but would have led to heartbreak. There were invitations that seemed exciting but would have delayed their purpose. Even closed doors have been acts of divine protection. You have asked heaven for a sign, sometimes with tears in your eyes and silence filling the room. Perhaps you expected a dramatic answer, yet God often answers through steady steps instead of sudden spectacles. Every conversation, every unexpected phone call, every change of plans has been part of a greater design. What seemed ordinary was never ordinary in the courts of heaven. There is another layer you have not considered. Relocation changes more than geography. It changes the people your soulmate will encounter, the wisdom they will receive, and the opportunities placed before them. One new introduction can redirect an entire future. One faithful friendship can restore years of lost confidence. One moment of obedience can open doors that human effort could never force open. Do you remember how God guided Elijah during a season of uncertainty? He sent him to a place he would never have chosen on his own and provided for him in unexpected ways. The provision did not arrive before the journey, it appeared where God had called him to be. Sometimes the blessing is waiting at the destination, not at the place we are reluctant to leave. This is why I urge you not to become discouraged if the process seems slower than expected. Heaven is not rushing because nothing is out of control. Like a master craftsman shaping a precious work of art, God gives attention to details that human eyes overlook. What feels like delay is often divine precision. There is someone your soulmate has not met yet, or perhaps someone they have met only briefly without realizing how important that connection would become. This individual is not entering the story by accident. Their encouragement, wisdom, or opportunity will arrive at a moment when it is needed most. Looking back, your soulmate will recognize that God had been arranging this meeting long before either of them understood its significance. As you hear these words, resist comparing your timeline with anyone else's. Comparison has stolen peace from many faithful hearts. David was anointed long before he wore the crown. Joseph dreamed long before he governed Egypt. God's promises often begin quietly before they become visible to everyone else. The waiting season does not cancel the promise, it prepares the person who will receive it. I also want to speak to the hidden weariness inside you. There have been days when hope felt fragile, when you smiled for others while carrying unanswered questions within yourself. The Father has seen every silent battle. Psalm 121 reminds us that your help comes from the Lord, the Maker of heaven and earth. The one who created the stars has not overlooked the details of your life. Stay attentive, because the story is moving toward a moment that few could have predicted. The relocation itself is only the beginning. What follows afterward will reveal why this unexpected change had to happen first. A conversation will take place, a truth will surface, and a door that once seemed permanently closed will begin to open in a way that only God could have arranged. Keep listening with expectation rather than fear. The next revelation uncovers why this move will test hearts, expose hidden intentions, and reveal who was truly meant to remain in your soulmate's life. When that moment arrives, you will understand that every step of this journey has been guided by a wisdom far greater than human plans. There is one detail I have held back until now because it could only be understood after your heart accepted that God's timing is wiser than your own. The relocation is not the final destination of this story. It is the key that unlocks a door your soulmate has walked past many times without realizing what was waiting behind it. What seems like an unexpected move will quietly place them in the exact environment where heaven has prepared their next assignment. The wealthy man believes he is offering security, opportunity, or a fresh beginning. Those things may indeed become part of the journey. But there is something far greater that cannot be purchased with wealth or influence. God is positioning your soulmate where their character will be strengthened, their faith will mature, and the people they meet will shape the next chapter of their life in ways no amount of money could ever accomplish. Imagine standing beside a wide river at sunrise. From one shore, the opposite side looks distant and unfamiliar. The water seems too deep, and the crossing feels uncertain. Yet once the first step is taken and the journey begins, the shore that once seemed impossible slowly becomes home. Faith often works that way. It does not reveal the entire landscape before asking you to move. It simply whispers, "Take the next faithful step." There are voices around your soulmate that are urging them to remain where everything feels familiar. Some speak from fear. Others speak from comfort. A few may even speak from hidden selfishness because they do not want to lose the version of your soulmate that depended on them. Not every person who resists change is your enemy, but not every voice deserves to guide your future. Wisdom listens carefully before deciding which voice to follow. Remember how the Lord led the Israelites with a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. They could not predict every stop along the journey, yet they learned to move when God moved and to wait when God waited. That same principle remains true today. Peace is often found not in knowing every detail but in trusting the one who already does. There is another reason this relocation carries such importance. It will reveal what has been genuine all along. Some relationships will grow stronger despite the distance. Others will quietly fade because they were connected only to convenience rather than love. Do not mourn every separation. Sometimes God lovingly removes what cannot accompany you into your next season so that your heart has room to receive what He has prepared. I know you have wondered whether your soulmate will remember you while everything around them changes. Hear this carefully. What God has planted deeply within the heart cannot be erased by miles, new surroundings, or unfamiliar faces. If your connection truly rests within His purpose, distance will refine it rather than destroy it. Gold is tested by fire, and genuine relationships are often revealed through seasons that require patience and trust. The Lord's words in Jeremiah 29 verse 11 still carry hope today, "For I know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." These words were spoken to people living through uncertainty, reminding them that exile was not the end of their story. In the same way, moments of transition are not signs that God has abandoned His promises. They are often the road that leads toward them. I also want to prepare your heart for something unexpected. There will come a moment when your soulmate begins to recognize that this relocation was never only about career, finances, or opportunity. They will sense that invisible doors are opening in ways they cannot fully explain. Small events will begin connecting like pieces of a puzzle. What once appeared random will suddenly reveal a pattern that only God could have designed. When that realization comes, your soulmate may look back with tears, not tears of regret, but tears of gratitude. They will understand that every delay protected them, every disappointment redirected them, and every unanswered prayer carried hidden mercy. The burdens they once